something wasn't quite right about us. My brother, Jamal, my sister, Jazmine, and I, though we shared the same face, the same blood, had a connection that went far deeper than what was normal. We could feel each other's thoughts, anticipate each other's moves before they happened. It was unnerving at times, but our parents, Dr. Leonard and Dr. Lucille, explained it away as a product of being triplets, telling us it was just the result of a close bond. But as I grew older, I realized that close bond didn't explain everything. There were dark corners to our upbringing that seemed out of place, secrets buried beneath the surface of our lives. The house we grew up in was enormous, more of a research facility than a home. Hidden cameras were everywhere. The walls were lined with medical equipment and glass cases filled with strange vials and syringes. Our parents monitored us constantly, not with the usual affection of parents, but with cold, clinical eyes. We were subjects in an experiment, though we didn't understand that at first. Not until much later. It started to make sense around the time we turned 12. That was the first time they took us to the basement. The basement was off limits for as long as I could remember. The locked door was a silent warning that something dangerous lurked beneath our feet. I had always been curious, but the day we were finally let down, I wished I had never asked. The room smelled like bleach and antiseptic. Rows of metal tables, surgical lights hanging from the ceiling, and cages. Yes, cages. Along the walls filled the space. But the worst part was the charts. The ones showing our faces, our bodies, our brains, dissected down to every cell. Jazmine gasped. Jamal stood frozen. I felt sick to my stomach. Our parents had never shown an ounce of affection, and now I understood why. They didn't love us. They didn't even care about us. Not in the way normal parents did. We weren't their children. We were their creation. That night, as we sat in our shared room, too frightened to speak out loud, we communicated through our thoughts, an ability we had never questioned until that moment. Janiya, Jazmine's voice echoed in my mind. What are we? I didn't have an answer. None of us did. But over the next few months, the pieces started falling into place. We were genetically engineered, created in a lab. Our DNA wasn't entirely human. Dr. Leonard and Dr. Lucille weren't just scientists. They were part of something much bigger. They called it Project Genesis, a classified program aimed at building a new breed of human, stronger, faster, more intelligent, and obedient. That last part was the kicker. They thought they could control us. The experiments ramped up when we turned 15. They began testing our limits. How fast we could run, how long we could go without food or sleep, how much pain we could endure. They hooked us up to machines that read our brainwaves, injected us with strange substances that made our hearts race and our skin burn. Jamal tried to resist once. He refused one of the injections. I remember the way our parents looked at him, like he was a broken machine, malfunctioning. Without a word, they called in their guards. Men we had never seen before, dressed in all black with rifles slung over their shoulders. They grabbed Jamal, dragged him down to the basement, and locked him in one of the cages. For 3 days, Jazmine and I felt every ounce of his pain. The hunger, the thirst, the cold loneliness. They wanted to break him, to break us. It worked. When Jamal came back, he wasn't the same. That was when we started planning our escape. It took a year of careful observation. We watched the guards, memorized their schedules. We timed our parents' absences and the moments when the facility was the least secure. We knew we couldn't just run. We had to fight. But the more we learned, the more dangerous it became. Our powers, because that's what they were, no doubt about it, were growing. We could communicate telepathically with more precision, finish each other's thoughts with ease. Jazmine could move things without touching them, just by thinking about it. Jamal could run faster than any human I'd ever seen. And me, I could manipulate technology, bend it to my will. Computers, cameras, even the lights, everything became an extension of my mind. But with these powers came consequences.